Live from the virtual Daytona International Super Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida, we bring you tonight's King of Daytona qualifying session here in the NASRA 360 Racing Network. Tonight as well, we'll be bringing you the Hot Last podcast, Tyler and Brady, but we also have a special guest, Wesley. You are joining us here in the booth to talk about qualifying as well as the first week of racing in the NASRA family of racing series that concerns the Police Survivors Truck Series as well as the SimRacerHub.com Truck Series. Wesley, how are you doing?
I am doing well. Just got done actually calling football radio broadcasts. I just snuck out the back door so the rest of my radio crew could tear down production and made it in the booth, ready to join Brady LaBeouf and yourself, Tyler, here at the Virtual World Center of Racing. It is tonight's qualifying night, qualifying in preparation for the King of the High Banks here at Daytona. And you know, Brady, here's the deal. Something different that we normally don't do at NASRA on our coverage on the NASRA 360 Racing Network. Single truck qualifying. We're going to highlight all of these drivers who is going to be right now making that first attempt, if you will, to prepare for the big race on September the 14th.
Absolutely, Wesley. And like you said, I mean, this is a big event. NASRA 250. We're going to go 100 laps in the trucks. You know, we're trying to get these events going. They're a month long. You know, we're qualifying tonight. They're setting up their spots for the dual races. Dual number 1 will be next Thursday, and then we'll have the dual race number 2, and then the big main event. There's still time to join. The only thing that's really important tonight is the front row. If you qualify first or second, you are locked in. You still have to race your dual race in order to keep that locked in spot. But if you wreck, hey, no big deal. You'll still be locked into that spot for the main event.
Yeah, exactly right. The front row will be locked in, shades of what you see for the Great American Race at Daytona 500 every year for the NASCAR Cup Series at Speed Weeks. Obviously, know the NASCAR Cup Series and the Coke Zero Sugar 400 is this Saturday night, the final race before the playoffs. I cannot believe how fast Tyler Dittmer the year has flew by. We're at virtual Daytona for NASRA tonight, but man, you're in the real infield of the World Center of Racing.
Oh, Wesley, you know it, and I'm so excited to be here live from the real Daytona International Speedway, currently over in the camping area in turns 3 and 4, the Geico Orange Lot, they call it here. And Wesley, I gotta say, I've already run into a few drivers, including a Daytona favorite every single year, Joey Logano. Almost hardly didn't even recognize him with his new air plugs. Absolutely.
Yeah. Always great. Always great seeing the former NASCAR Cup Series champion out of course, you know, the driver of the 22 machine for Team Penske, and we'll watch that driver and others going at it here this Saturday night. But for tonight, right now, 21 pre-enter. There might be some more entries that will be coming in here tonight to qualify. The bottom line, as Brady reiterated on, as Tyler just said, and I'll say again in the trio, this is qualifying night. Obviously, let's lay the land that is the World Center of Racing on iRacing, Daytona International Speedway. This facility obviously has been running since the 50s, the Daytona 500 with the first ever race. And since then, Daytona International Speedway is a 2.5-mile high-banked racetrack, 4.02 kilometers, 4 turns. The tri-oval, the turns are banked at 34 degrees. The tri-oval is banked at 18 degrees on the front straightaway. The back straightaway, the Daytona Super Stretch, is 2 degrees. That is the flattest part of the racetrack. Make no bones about it, Brady LaBeouf. You have got to hit a perfect lap around a tricky 2.5-mile layout here at Daytona tonight.
Absolutely, Wesley. And you know, the trucks have changed a little bit as we got Hunter Parsons on the track. If our producer Cody can catch that for us, there he is. Highline Racing's Hunter Parsons in that number 15 Toyota right there. Yeah, you used to run the high lane, and Tyler can agree with me on this, and even Cody. You used to run the high lane on lap 1, and then you'd come down and run that inside line closest that you can to that double yellow line for your second lap, but the trucks have kind of changed a little bit. We see a lot of guys just going ahead and running the bottom lane on the first lap.
Yeah,
Getting
Brady,
ready to come to his warm-up lap.
No, of course.
Sorry, Tyler. My apologies. I was just going to say, coming to the line, getting ready to qualify, the number 15, or the driver, the number 15 machine. He resides out of Statesville, North Carolina, the Highline Racing entry, and that is the red and white number 15. This is Hunter Parsons. He'll be our first qualifier, Tyler. You were saying as he's on the clock.
Yeah. Has recently just moved to Statesville, North Carolina, by way of, I'm pretty sure, Michigan, Wesley. And he just had a brand new job opening at Joe Gibbs Racing. He's actually wrapping cars, a couple of cars that I'll be seeing in person here this weekend. And you're seeing him run that bottom here on this first lap, Wesley and Brady. And honestly, that's something that we, like Brady said, we didn't see in the past. We saw lap one generally be a slower lap, that you ran the outside lane, tried to build up as much speed as you could, and then went to the bottom for lap number two. Here, Hunter's going straight to the bottom for lap number one, puts down a time there, and we'll just see how he progresses throughout the evening.
Yeah, 52.033 on lap one.
Yeah, 52.033 first qualifier. And by the way, Tyler, you said Michigan. He's originally from Green Bay, Wisconsin, so he's a cheesehead. Now residing from North Carolina in Statesville, just outside of the Race City, USA area off of I-77 from the number 15, obviously. Parsons, 52.033. That's the first time being put on the track by the 15 machine, and I'm watching him work off turn 4. It looks like Brady LaBeouf, as he comes storming off to the tri-oval into the Geico restart zone. Not a really good lap. Obviously, it's a decent lap. He gets quicker. 52.068 is what it looks like. Cody Knott, our producer, I don't know if there's a way you can drag that box down with the mini feeds and try to make the screen larger for us, but I want to say unofficially, Brady LaBeouf, 52.068 for Hunter Parsons, and on lap number 2, that was his white flag lap. This is his checkered flag lap this time by.
Yeah, and I think that, like I said earlier, and I think Tyler would agree with me on this, is that first lap, you know, it's the fast lap now, just with the package and the trucks nowadays, the updates that iRacing has done. It just seems like the first lap is your fast lap from now on, as what I've kind of, you know, come to know running these super speedways.
Which Brady?
58.
Yeah. No, I agree. We see that's Steve Barnett, the 42 truck, now on track for his hot laps, Wesley, and really Highline Racing going out here early. But you see Steve Barnett going to the Highline here early on. He's coming to the green lap. Steve Barnett, the short track motorcycle dirt flat track correction racer, Wesley, generally, but he also runs for Highline Racing in the MrHub.com Truck Series. He's coming here to take the green flag lap. It looks like he's going to run the line for his first lap.
Yeah, different strategy.
See what he can do here right now. 58.541. 58.541 for Parsons. Right now on the dead lap is the 42. Now taking the green flag and on the clock from Brighton, Michigan. This is the Highline Racing entry, sponsored by Hillbilly Custom Baits. Steve Barnett, his Toyota, working down the super stretch, down the back straightaway. Brady, I'm noticing also here in qualifying a lot of cloud cover here. What does that do to the handling of these trucks, especially on a super speedway when you're by yourself solo in qualifying?
Well, you know, Daytona's known, you know, it's right there by the beach. Tyler might be at the beach tomorrow drinking a couple of beers for us, Wesley, but it's right there by the beach. Florida's known for those pop-up showers and cloud covers. So, you know, I think if anything, it's going to benefit, you know, because it's going to take the heat out of the track. It's going to keep it cool. And that's kind of like what you want usually. You know, tire wear is not a big deal at Daytona and Talladega, but you do want it. You want the wind to be down. You want it to be about 1 to 2 miles an hour at the most. You want that cloud cover. You want that shade to keep the heat out of the track. So it benefits when you see that cloud covered, in my opinion.
52.520 right now. Fastest lap by Barnett. That is still not good enough to bump Parsons, who is still the fast man, 52.833. Or 52.033, 52.033. Here comes Barnett through the tribal. Checkered flag. Will he get faster? I think he is, but not quick enough. 52.160. That is good enough, Tyler Dittmer, to be second quick right now, but still Parsons, your fast man.
Yeah, I think Steve may have thrown it away with his stretch. He went all the way out to the wall. I don't like that. Run the bottom in 1 and 2. And also, it was his first lap was weird. He ran the top in 1 and 2, but ran the bottom in 3 and 4. I think if you're going to run the top all on your first lap, you have to do the entire way around this track. You have to get as much speed as you can coming down to the line. And then if you're going to stick to the bottom, stick to the bottom. Don't lose time drifting up on the back straightaway all to the wall. I think Steve Barnett made a few small mistakes that prevented him from getting the pole. I like still the strategy of running that top line that first lap. He had a lot of speed there. He was super close, but a couple of weird differences in his lap versus Hunter Parsons may have cost him that pole position, Wesley and Brady.
Don't forget the concerns of police warriors, the concerns of cops, again, series in action tomorrow night. Obviously, the Friday night series, 9 p.m. Eastern time, covered shop, by the way. Make sure you check it out on the NASRA 360 Racing Network. There is qualifying going on here tonight. There is also the podcast going on tonight, I'm understanding, all at the same time. If we have any downtime, the Hot Lap podcast with obviously Tyler Dittmer and Brady LaBeouf. And right now, here comes your next qualifier, the third qualifier, number 4 in the entry blank from Clinton, Maine. The Upfront Motorsports entry sponsored by Blanchard's Towing in that Ford. Here comes the number 9, the red 9, Chris Blanchard. And Brady, on the Monday night series where I get the opportunity to be lead for the Sim Racer Hub NASRA Truck Series, as we got a couple of races before the playoffs start for that series as well. Blanchard has had kind of a roller coaster year, if you will. This would be a big lifter for him if he could put it on the front row and make the King of the Daytona race in 3 weeks.
Absolutely. And you're seeing, the Highline guys go out, that must be team orders or whatnot, because we got Hunter, Steve, Chris, they all run for Highline on Monday nights in that simracerhub.com series. But yeah, Chris has had an up and down year, but, Wesley, I just went down pit road and I caught up with Rhett Tucker. Rhett, you got a copy?
Yeah, I do. What's up?
Well, Rhett Tucker and that 99 machines for Rhett Tucker Esports, Rhett Tucker Racing Esports, that is. How do you feel about your qualifying chances tonight, Rhett?
Well, it's usually either hit or miss with me. I'm usually, either very fast and surprisingly fast for myself, or I just botch it all. I haven't ran trucks at Daytona in a while, so hopefully I can, grab my old playbook and figure something out.
Yeah, we've seen Chris Blanchard on his first one.
Yeah. Wait a second, Brady. He's grabbing a playbook. Your playbook is hit the pedal to the floor and turn left. There's not really that much to it. What do you mean by a playbook?
Well, you see this cloud cover and this track temperature. It's 69 degrees. That's a lot cooler than I've ran Daytona.
It's cold.
Yeah, she might be slipping and sliding. I don't know. I only got like 2 laps in practice,
yeah.
So that was
well, in my defense, I set the session up. In my defense, it's on random, so you don't know what you're going to get. There might be rain in the area. We don't know yet. Rain might come to iRacing soon enough, but Chris Blanchard's going to be fastest on his first lap of 52.055. Rhett, are you going to run the high line on your first lap, or are you going to run bottom first like we seen Chris and Hunter do?
I'm going for the bread on lap number 1, man. I don't want to say too much, but usually lap 1 works a little better for me here.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
is interesting.
Well, I was going to say as well, Brett, always great catching up with you, buddy. Again, for Northport Richey, Florida, the RTR Esports entry sponsored by Malware Bytes, Red Tucker qualifying soon. Man, I got to ask you this question, and to segue what you just said, usually your first lap of speed, if you can put down a good lap, you don't have to worry about that second qualifying lap. And most of all, to segue to that, you're pretty popular when it comes to these big special races.
No, in a good way,
He's
or
popular because he wins. He's popular because he wins everyone's money, and then we gotta cancel him for the next month and a half. Red and I both know how this.
That's what I meant.
Yeah,
then I gotta wait until there's another race that I can run. No, I don't even run officials, man, and honestly, I don't even run any other leagues. So kind of looking forward to this. I haven't been driving as much as I should lately.
Well, it's always great catching up with the driver there of Rhett Tucker. Thank you, Brady. And up next to qualify from Fort Myers, Florida, part of the Jeff Sickles Swim Motorsports team with Sick With It Motorsports, the DSR Electric, number 51. This is Brian Chu right now, 52.033 seconds, Tyler Dittmer at Daytona in the infield. So far, Hunter Parsons has set the fast time as qualifier number 4 is on track now.
Yeah, Wesley, and you bring up Brian Chu. I think he hasn't been getting the respect he deserves. He had a really solid first season in SimRacerHub.com Truck Series inaugural season, ran well. Second season with Swim in the DSR Electric number 51. You know, he's kind of been up and down, kind of the same way we talked about Chris Blanchard. He's just had enough good results where we're not worried about him missing the playoffs, right, Wesley? So when you look at Brian Chu, we're looking for that breakthrough win. We haven't seen him yet this season. Hopefully he gets it done, but right now he's on a little bit of a slow first lap, but he took the high line the whole way around, which is what I wanted Steve Barnett to do. So we'll see if it pays off here for Brian Chu as he makes his second lap.
Again, watching the driver, Brian Chu, work his way down the super stretch. He is right now 4th, 53.113 seconds right now. That's the time that he has made on the track. It looks like he's going to be coming to the line to take the checkered flag. And Brady, it looks like he's going to be mired in the top 5. Looking for speed, not finding it. Slower on lap number 2. 52.196, actually. They're saying he's quicker, but still at the bottom of the barrel of 4 qualifiers.
Absolutely, Wesley. Yeah, go ahead.
No, Bray, I was going to ask you, why did he go to the apron? That transition is not smooth. It's going to scrub speed. I think that was the big mistake there on that one. I think he did everything well, but going to the apron there at the end, I think
Yeah, I'm not sure, Tyler. And we've seen drivers ask that question if it's legal or not. Look, we have a rule at NASRA when it comes to the racing, the double yellow line. If you go below it or you force somebody below it, it causes penalties and whatnot. Qualifying, if we're racing, the admins are racing in the track. We can't really police it, right? Because you can't just sit there and watch everybody qualify unless you're broadcasting. So I tell them, look, if I can't see it, I can't police it. So it's fair game for qualifying, but yeah, I agree. I think if anything, it's going to hurt you right there. And we've seen Brian Chu right there for Sick With It Motorsports. I got the owner, the boss man of Sick With It Motorsports, Jeff Sickles, in at number 78. Jeff, you got a copy?
Yes, sir. Got you guys. How's it going?
How's it going, Jeff? How you feel about qualifying tonight, brother? You're going to be running this NASRA 250 event.
We were just talking as a group in the Sick With It Motorsports chat about, how the group that's here, myself, Brian, and Justin, just seem to usually not do so well qualifying here at Daytona. I don't know if it's a manufacturer thing with all of us running Toyotas. If we're a little bit slower on the qualifying, we're going to do our best. But when it comes down to racing, we're going to be there as a team to help each other.
Well, Jeff, you mentioned the Toyota.
Jeff,
yeah, I was going to say, you say Toyotas are slow, Jeff, but Hunter Parsons, sir, Toyota, he was first. You think he can get it done, though?
We'll see. I guess that kicks that theory right out the window. So I guess we got to do something to prove here.
Next qualifier on track, the 0-2. This is Torrey Thompson. More with Jeff Sickles here in just a moment as qualifying continues for the NASRA 250 Kings of Daytona. Torrey Thompson, the 0-2 out of Red Bank, New Jersey. The Cop Detailing entry, Ford for 979 Racing. Jeff, back to my question as we watch Thompson qualify here. Usually usually we're quickly making a practice and a qualifying run, and you're not doing single truck qualifying. You literally got a pack of trucks with you when we run our Monday or Thursday night series. What do you tell your team to go out there and obviously be your teammates with everybody, but you're kind of every man for themselves qualifying tonight, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a different mentality here. You want to obviously want to do your best. There's spots on the line. There's even money on the line. So we're going to go out and try to put down, a lap that's going to put us towards the front. And if it doesn't work out the way we want it to, we'll have a game plan come race time to work together to put ourselves towards the front when it counts.
Jeff, I got to ask real quick, because you obviously, being the owner of Swim, Monday night, Friday night, as an owner of a team with as much talent as you have, do you expect team championships and driver championships every year? And who do you see being that driver for you on Monday nights, especially as we're getting closer to the playoffs? Is Adam Newton the guy you think can get it done?
With the current situation with some of my guys, myself included, getting caught up in real life stuff and not being as consistent making races as we usually do, Adam Newton has really stepped up, especially on Monday nights, to be that guy that is continuing to run up front. I say that as well. We have Blake as a part-time, Blake Lothian, a part-time driver who's also been really kicking butt and being up there both Mondays and Friday nights. But yeah, Adam Newton's really been making some noise, so I'm looking forward to see what he can do come playoffs.
52.221 seconds right now for Torrey Thompson. He is on the money lap for his final time of speed off of turn 4, storming through the tri-oval here at the Virtual World Center of Racing to be the 5th qualifier here tonight. And will he climb? The answer is no. 52.221. He just turned a 52.236. Slower, Brady, on lap number 2. And that's actually something different we've noticed of the first 4 qualifiers, who are normally picking up speed on their second lap.
Yeah, normally, guys like me and Tyler and even Cody, whenever we're running the races for Mondays and Fridays and whatnot, I for one don't watch the broadcast while I'm racing. I don't watch qualifying, but just because it's just a qualifying session tonight, I think I would tune in, if I was sitting down there on pit road waiting to go and see what other guys are doing. And clearly you can see as Jared Barclay right here for Rhett Tucker Racing Esports, that number 10 machine, that number 10 Ford, the Rhett Tucker guys all run Fords, it seems like. But no, I mean, it seems like the first lap is the hot lap. And I can't see myself trying to do it on lap 2 after I've seen the guys run about a 1/10 to 2/10 slower than Hunter.
From Parsippany, New Jersey, the driver of the RTR Esports entry, as Brady mentioned, sponsored by Red Horse Beer and his Ford. This is the number 10, Jared Barclay. Right now, Parsons, Blanchard, Barnett, Chu, and Thompson, the top 5 of the 6 qualifiers here. And Tyler, make no bones about it, RTR Esports, when they show up on the entry blank, they've come to rumble.
Yeah, Wesley, and when you were talking with Rhett Tucker, like, all I could think about was me, him, and Jason Higginbottom running for, I think, the first or second ever NASRA championship at Richmond, and just being in of the talent that a guy like Rhett Tucker has. And he's just one of the best drivers out there. And he really does so much that, a lot of good. And you know what, I'm really hoping that he sticks around with NASRA, and I know he does, and he doesn't run any other leagues, but Rhett Tuck Racing is just so good, Brady. If we can find a league that had competition for those guys consistently, I feel like it could be one of the best leagues broadcasted out there, but it's so hard to find people who are willing to take that challenge every single week. I would love to, but personally, my schedule doesn't allow it. We got to find guys who can compete with these guys week in, week out, schedule allow.
Brady, something I also want to mention as we're watching Jared Barclay work his way down to the start-finish line, 51.910. New quick time. He just set fast time. And will he be quicker? No, he will not. But we do have a new fast qualifier in the number 10. That is, again, the RTR Esports entry from Parsippany, New Jersey, Jared Barclay, and he is now at the top of the board. I want to ask you this, obviously. Fuel capacity is at 50% tonight. That means it's not 100% fuel capacity. And that also means there is less weight on these trucks. How difficult or easy is it for them to handle these trucks in qualifying solo tonight at Daytona?
Well, I don't think it makes as much difference whenever you're doing, single truck runs as it would be, in the draft or somebody bumping you or you trying to bump the other person, whatnot. It's just to do something different, maybe make the speeds go up a little bit higher. I don't know if it makes a difference or whatnot, but it's mostly just to kind of change it up, not the same old deal and see, how different the truck reacts. I don't think it's going to play too much. You're probably doing about 164, 165. You might get up to the 170s down the back straightaway and the front straightaway, but as far as handling, it doesn't play that big of a role in my opinion.
6 trucks have took time right now. Barclay is the new fast man. Barclay in the number 10 machine. First truck, Tyler Dittmer, to crack the 51-second bracket. And by the way, I said this when we saw the first couple of qualifiers. That time is just not quick enough. As here comes the Maconey Setup Shop, number 57. One of our friends in the broadcast booth, as well on the NASRA 360 Racing Network. From Rome, Georgia, the home of Rome Speedway. In the Maconey Setup Shop's Mission 1 Esports, number 57, Chevrolet, Jacob Reeves. And again, as I said, Tyler, just not fast enough times yet. I would even say Barclay's time is not fast enough yet.
Yeah, Red Tucker's going to go out and probably blow that out of the water, Wesley. And I knew it was going to have to probably be in the 51s to be in that front row. And really, at the end of the day, the only drivers that matter is the driver who's sitting first and second, because those are the only two drivers locked into that position when it comes to the great race we have in a couple weeks' time. So, honestly, no offense to anyone who's outside the top 2 currently, but have to go race for their new starting position in the week's time.
And speaking of, Tyler, that Friday night, if I was on camera like we were supposed to be for the podcast, you'd see it in the background. I'm covering the Iowa race behind me on my flat screen TV. But speaking of cops, that Friday Night Truck Series, I got Huck Wigginton and that 00, found him on pit road for an interview. He plays a major part in that with the sponsorship of the Concerns of Police Survivors. Huck, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
How's it going, man? What do you think about this event so far, and what do you think about your chances of knocking off Jared and those guys for the pole position?
Well, I'm listening to y'all's broadcast also on YouTube here, and you're right. I mean, I expected some 51s already, so in my practice, I did a few 51s, or at least got one good 51 in. So I'll see if I can't do that, and who knows if that'll hold up. It's sort of like Tyler said, I know when Rick gets on the track, it's fingers crossed, right?
Yeah, you mentioned Rick. When we see another driver going to the apron there and not actually improving their time that much, are you going to stay on the racing service? 1 and 2. Podcast question, because Brady gives me shit all the time. Is Don getting jealous of my love affair with Chris Cinnamon? Please be honest.
Yes, I will, and yes, he is.
Oh, wow. Oh, well, Tyler, you got your answer.
Yeah, that was a quick answer, man. Tell Dawn I'm sorry. She can have them back if she wants.
That's fine. That's fine. I think she's trying to stay in the United States now. We've talked about it.
Talking with the driver out of Bellevue, Tennessee, Huck Wigginton. Right now watching Jacob Reeves and his Chevrolet finish up qualifying to the Maconey Setup Shop's entry. Coming to the line. And right now Barclay still the fast time. Reeves has climbed up to 4th. And right now, 4:52.087 is his time to it, hopefully bypass and get quicker for a driver, honestly, Brady, that, man, Jacob impressed me. Not only being in the booth, and it looks like he's going to park it. He's not even going to try to go for a second lap. He's just going to take the lap he's got there and be right now in fourth. But he's really impressed me from stepping out of the booth and being able to race and be competitive as he is when he does, for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, some big news coming with Silly Season on Mondays. I just got word we got a whole entire new team coming for Season 3. Some guys that have previously raced with NASRA that want to come back, so we'll keep that on the DL for now. And there's also some news surrounding Jacob Reeves in the SimRacerHub.com series for next the third season on Mondays, starting about middle of November. Wesley, hopefully we'll sign the contract with you for another season if you'll have us. And
Sure.
yeah, so a lot of big news coming surrounding that series. So.
Brady, stop teasing me. Just give me some info. You're killing me. This is the second week in a row you do this to me.
I can't do it. The playoffs are right around the corner, and there's a lot of drivers that will be affected by the decisions that are made. But I have two new drivers joining Mission 1 Esports, and I can't say their names.
Better Jacob Reeves.
Well, here comes the driver that we were all talking about in qualifying. He was the last entrant number 21, and ready to go in the Malware Bites viral number 99 Ford. He resides out of Newport Richey, Florida, originally from Tennessee. This is the RTR Esports entry of Rhett Tucker. I call him the Jet, Rhett the Jet Tucker, coming to the line, and he is on the clock now. We will see where he ends up. 52.094. That was his warm-up lap. Now he's going to give it all he's got on the green lap. And remember, Brady and William, he said, Tyler, he said, we're going to go one lap. That's just it. My opening lap is going to be my go lap. We'll see if he can make that a reality.
I think 52.094 was his first lap, Wesley. I think this is his second lap here. So he must think that there's something a little bit left to be had here on the second lap. He's continuing through at 52.094. It looks like he has an official time. Uncertain at the moment, but Rhett Tucker, just always such an ultimate competitor, loves racing, big supporter of NASRA, just cannot be a nicer guy. And he goes slower there on that second lap, 52.222, Wesley. As 52.094 means he will not be locked into the front row come.
That's a shock.
3 weeks times. That's a big surprise. So
that's a shock.
Right now, Hunter Parsons still in the front row, Wesley.
Barkley and Parsons on the front row, 51.810 and 52.033. Rhett Tucker will have to go through one of the dual qualifier races to make it in to the King of Daytona NASRA 250 on September the 14th. By the way, don't forget, next Thursday night, right here, NASRA 360 Racing Network. We're all back. Duel 1. Duel number 1. Then we've got Duel 2 on September 7th. The field will be then set for 43 trucks, 250 miles, 100 laps. A century grind around the virtual World Center of Racing to find out who will be the big winner of the inaugural 2023 King of Daytona NASRA 250. All the coverage on the NASRA 360 Racing Network. Here comes Huck Wigington now from Bellevue, Tennessee. The Blue Line Racing entry sponsored by Murph's Magical Creations, that 00. And Brady, he sounded pretty confident that he wanted to have a good qualifying lap. And he's also been watching everybody intently to see what they're doing wrong to make sure he knows what he needs to do right.
Absolutely. You know, shout out to Murph's Magical Creations. They actually are the designer of the trophies for the Friday Night Cops Truck Series. They're the ones that created the trophy for the big Daytona opener race. That DSR Electric, shout out to them for sponsoring that event. everybody gets a trophy for the crown jewel races. So the next one, I believe, is the all-star race. Tyler, correct me if I'm wrong on that. But yeah, shout out to Murphs and those guys that do a phenomenal job on making those trophies. As he's coming to the line,
Big
Wesley,
Eaton.
right here. Yeah, he's coming to the line right
yeah.
here. We're gonna see where he stacks up. What do you think? You think he might be top 5 right here?
I'm thinking he's probably going to be about third or fourth. 52-05. Hey, I was right.
Hey,
I
you
said
called it.
third. I said third. 52-052 on lap number 1. 52.052. Let's see what he can do on his second lap now, Tyler.
Wesley, I'll bet $100 right now his second lap is slower than his first. And you want to know why? Because he
Probably
hit the
so.
apron. It's nothing to do with what lies on it. It's all about him hitting the apron. He scrubs speed at that point in time and shorten the track. His second lap will be slower significantly compared to his first lap. I do want to talk, though, about the Crown Jewel races. You are correct, Brady, by the way. The All-Star race will be the next big Crown Jewel races. Absolutely awesome thing we're doing in the Friday Night Truck Series. I think it's great. I hope we can get it on the Monday Night Truck Series. Most Magical Creations. Shout out to them. They've made amazing trophies.
You know, Tyler, you sound a lot more enthusiastic in the broadcast booth than the last couple of races trying to talk with you during real time on the track.
Well, Wesley, I mean, have you seen my last 3 races? I've been right twice. I got right hooked while in leading a race in Vegas. Like, and it's not Lumpkin was just running hard. Like, I blamed him at that moment, right? Lumpkin and I have talked. I respect Justin Lumpkin. Going back to this, we talked about it a little bit on last week's show because this is a more podcast topic. As Huck Whittington went slower on his second lap, as I predicted. You know, hard racing just kind of breeds that, and it's been frustrating for me for the last few weeks.
As we see Huck Wigington finishing up with his lap here, and we'll get ready for the next qualifier. So far, 9 trucks have taken time. Barkley Parsons right now in the front row. I got to ask you this. Brady, I don't want to poke the bear and make Tyler mad, but I got to ask you this question. What's your thoughts of Joey Doucette putting your face on a truck Monday night?
I thought it was funny. I think I look good.
If I was on camera, Wesley, I had it on my phone to present tonight. I thought it was hilarious when I was running next to Joey.
I thought I looked good, boys. I thought I actually looked better than Chase Elliott in that freaking Napa,
wow.
I think the nickname of Golden Boy is going to follow you in that series. But hey, guys, I'm on pit road right now, and I'm catching up with Mr. Jonathan Pugh in at number 19. He's got a couple of sponsors. He's got M1 Race Cars, Stogies. He's got Trackhouse. He's got all kind of people. Jonathan, you got a copy?
Yeah, I'm here.
So tell us a little bit about your run that's coming up. You going to be running soon, or you want to run a little bit later? You think you can go up there and crack that front row?
I'm watching people as they're doing the qualifying, and I can't find a good line. Everybody's changing it up on me. So, I'd like to wait towards the end to see what people have, but it's going to be a hard decision. Each time somebody goes out, the track changes a little bit differently. It might get a little faster. It might get a little slower. I guess we'll find out.
Jonathan, do you think anybody needs to be brave enough to go bonsai the safer barrier like Darlington, if you will, and maybe have a shot because of being up on the top of the 31 degrees of banking and with the cloud cover, maybe have a chance to get a good lap?
Yeah, it's a possibility. I'm watching it, and I don't see too much build up on the top. I think most of the fast line's going to be towards the middle and halfway towards the bottom, but I don't think it's going to be a fast run like it would be at Darlington.
Jonathan, you mentioned the different lines that you've seen people running, how it's throwing you for a loop. Can you just kind of go back to what you feel is the best position instead of just looking at other drivers and saying, well, they did this well, but then someone did the exact same thing and did it poorly. You just say, screw it. I'm just going to go with what I know is safe and what can give me a good lap.
I know a really good line that I like to run at Daytona. It's never failed me anytime that I actually run it, and I'm hoping to do it here tonight and hopefully put on a good qualifying to get up to the top. I always feel comfortable with that line. I never feel any rear end coming loose. It tightens the truck up, and that's what I'm looking for. So we'll see what happens.
Hold that thought. Here's one of the drivers that are not in the pre-entry list, but obviously, as Brady LaBeouf reiterated on, we'll have some new arrivals coming in tonight. One of the men from the NASRA Sim Racer Hub Series in the Grind Chevrolet, Justin White. And that didn't last long. He
No, I'm
quickly
hearing on the
retired
radio,
back to the pits.
Wesley. It seems like he's got a malfunctioning going on. So
wow.
we're gonna have to. That's a developing story. We're gonna have to catch up with Justin a little bit later on the show and see what happened.
Yeah, always great hearing from Jonathan Pugh as well. And I think it's pretty damn cool that he's got Trackhouse as one of the sponsors on that number. On his number, 19, whenever he qualifies, the driver from St. Augustine, Florida. Whatever happened, Brady LaBeouf, Justin White made an adjustment. His Chevrolet is back on track right now to qualify.
Absolutely. Justin White, one of the premier guys in Mondays and Fridays, is hitting the track. He used to run for me at Mission 1 Esports, but now he's with Brute Force, Robbie Richardson, Nathan Maurer and those guys. So it's interesting to see. Justin always runs good, so we'll see what he clocks in at.
I'll tell you what, Tyler Dittmer, he had a stellar run in the All-Star race on the dirt at Eldora that we know will never happen again.
Yeah, I wasn't there, thankfully, Wesley. But White is one heck of a racer. He knows what to do, knows how to get the job done. Very respectful driver. You see him starting his first lap here. He's going to go straight to the bottom. And I think, Brady, he may have reset because he may have crossed over and had an unsafe accident. So that, I think, is why he stopped, because he was close that second time. I was wondering if it was his first time, because I wasn't, unfortunately, looking at that moment. If he may have done that, reset, and then went back out for his qualifying lap before he obviously took the green flag. Therefore, it's kind of no harm, no foul in iRacing's eyes.
Brady, is NASRA enforcing the going below the double yellow line is foul, and you'll suffer a penalty?
That is during the race, yes. The double yellow line, you cannot go below it. You cannot get if you force somebody below it, you are also you could be deemed a penalty, Wesley. So you can't force people down there, and you can't go below there to advance your position. Now, of course, at the beginning of the races, you see Justin clocks in with a 52.095 on his first lap, I believe.
Still not fast. Yeah. I can't believe it.
Yeah. So no, you can't do it. But we'll see people at the beginning of the race. They'll go below the double yellow line and they'll head to the back of the pack. That's legal. You're not advancing. You're not doing anything to manipulate anything. So yeah, that double yellow line, when you're the leader on that inside line, that double yellow line is your best friend, Wesley.
Oh, we will certainly watch that, as it looks like whatever problems Justin White had, he is back to speed, but he is just not quick enough. 52.095 as he works now around the 52nd lap, entering the Geico restart zone. Maybe quicker, maybe. Whoa! 52.095. Tyler Dittmer, 52.094.
Consistency, and for as close as those two laps are, it means, unfortunately, Wesley, it was absolutely nothing. Because guess what? He has to fight first position next week in the duels. A great consistency by Justin White. But when you get trucks in a pack at Daytona, we both know that means absolutely nothing what you can do on your two qualifying laps unless you put it on the front row.
Yeah, we're getting excited for nothing, Brady LaBeouf. The only thing I can say was way to be consistent there. That's the only thing the Grinds Chevrolet number 2 of Justin White did.
Yes, and coming up a little bit later, if we have time, a little spoiler alert, Tyler. Justin White is my pick for Kansas tomorrow night for that Cops Truck Series that's going to air Friday night tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern time is when they'll take the grid. So yeah, Justin White, always good at Kansas. That's where they're at week 6, and I believe, especially with the fuel capacity being 65%, 150 laps those guys are going to be running. So I think this is going to be one of the longest mile-and-a-half races we've run during the season. So I look to see Justin. I'll be on the show calling that race, actually. So I think Justin White's going to be one of those home run hitters there tomorrow night.
Yeah, well, Brady, I'll take someone completely different. I'll actually take your driver, Keith Bradley. Keith Bradley's going to win tomorrow night in the Cops Truck Series. But I see Brandon Bullock here on the track, Wesley, and that 17 truck is looking quick.
Brandon Bullock, never count him out. One of those drivers that competes on the Comp Series and the Sim Racer Hub Monday Tour from Macon, Missouri, from the Show Me State. The Team Watson Racing Setup sponsored machine, driving for Warrior Racing Esports. This is Brandon Bullock in his Toyota. The time to beat, 51.810. That was the time that the number 10 of Parsippany, New Jersey's Jared Barkley for RTR Esports turned. That was about 6 trucks ago, and he's held leverage so far as the 11th truck coming to the line. Ready to take the white flag. Lap number 1, 52.089. Way at the bottom there outside the top 10. Look at him, Brady. He's off the 31 degrees of banking into turn 1.
Yeah, Brandon Bullock is one of the premier super speedway drivers in this series, both Mondays and Fridays. He's not flashy, but he is one of the best pushers I've ever had behind me. I know there's a couple other guys in the series in the league that would agree with me on that. Brandon, he can keep the truck straight, he can push you, and as long as this truck doesn't blow up, that's the guy you want to have behind you, pushing you to the finish line, Tyler.
Yeah, Brandon's an amazing talent in the super speedway. His second lap here, we'll see what exactly comes out of it, but unlikely to be faster. Barely faster. Correction, 52.073.
Wow.
So just barely held that one out. But still not going to be enough to get him on that front row, Wesley. Still, it's going to be Barkley and Parsons, 1-2.
And I'm just getting word, Wesley.
Right now, Barkley, Parsons, front row. Yeah, go ahead, Brady. Yeah. Sorry.
Hunter Parsons just put in the chat, Wesley, Brady, Tyler is the Wish version of Chase Elliott.
How many wins does Chase Elliott have this year, and how many wins do I have this year? Sorry, facts.
Chase Elliott has no wins.
And
how many championships does Chase Elliott have?
Mickey Mouse championships, maybe, Wesley.
I think what you got 4? Well, you got 4 wins this year, Tyler. I think it is 4.
I wish I had 4 wins.
No, he just has 1.
Wins, I have 1.
I think you have 2. I think you have 2.
I lost the Friday night series earlier in February on 2 to go. I finished 3rd at Vegas. Because I won Richmond. And that's about it.
Now, I know you got screwed out of the, what was it? The road course, not the road course, the All-Star race at Eldora. You got turned. You got wrecked.
I wasn't even at Eldora. It was the road course where Blake Lothian shows up and just absolutely kills me.
That's it.
I was
yes.
by a minute and a half, Wesley. It was Blake, me, and then the rest of the field about a minute behind. It was absolutely just.
Now I'm trying to. Well, yeah. Was it Richmond? I think it might have been Richmond, Virginia, on the Monday night series where you were doing well and then you got wrecked and you were pretty ticked off. I mean, you let all the all the stages and then you got taken out there. Vegas. That was Vegas.
Yeah, I won Richmond.
Here comes now. Kevin Schoner is on the speedway from Fulshire, Texas, in the KSI entry number 44. And Brady, this is a new name that we don't know in the NASRA.
Yeah,
or at least
absolutely.
I don't know in the NASRA booth.
Yeah,
so
Kevin signed up for his event. I mean, that's the big thing, Wesley, is we're putting on this month-long event where we plan on doing it every month. We're going to continue doing this, making it a series. It's a month-long event. So hopefully it gets a little bit bigger. The goal is to have 60 trucks sign up and run this qualifying session and run the duels, and we're going to cap it at a 43-man field for the main event always. So the goal is to have guys go home. I know unfortunately that sounds horrible, but that's just how big our plans are to have this event going on. And we want to see the new guys. We want to see new guys come to NASRA. That's how we grow, right? But I've got
That's right.
Aiden Kirk in the booth. Aiden, you got a copy of us?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, Aiden, tell us a little bit. Are you watching qualifying on the broadcast? You're seeing what the other drivers are doing, and tell us how you feel about your lap coming up.
Yes, sir, I've been watching it, actually. I've seen some pretty good laps put down. I wound up actually getting the fastest lap in practice just a little bit ago, which was kind of nice. Of course, I had a push and some slipstream there, so that helped out a little bit. I'm feeling pretty excited, a little nervous, ready to do this. I'm hoping for a good run tonight.
Another driver out of Texas, Kevin Schoner, now working his way in that Wolfpack entry. Number 14 to the back straightaway, 52.283. Right now, good enough for 12th in this qualifying session. I got to ask you, Aiden, obviously Houston, what made you find out about this NASRA special event, and could we see you compete more in NASRA events after whatever successes or whatever the turnouts are for this Daytona event you're going to compete in?
Yes, sir. I do plan on racing more in this, and so I've been doing iRacing for a little over a year now. I saw y'all had this going on. I honestly didn't know it was in the East Coast, but I found out tonight, and I was like, oh shoot, I'm almost late for it. And I hopped on, and I was like, you know what? Let's do a race. Let's do a league race. See how this goes, and maybe I'll go from there.
There you go. Of course, the duels 1 and 2 coming up on September the 7th and August the 31st and September the 7th, and then the September 14th, the 100 lapper. Right now, next qualifier. Great to catch up with Aiden Kirk. More with him in just a moment. Here comes the number 13 from Riverview, Florida. The TP Designs RTR Esports entry Chevrolet. The number 13. This is Tony Plasaneka. Planeka. I want to say it's Plasaneka. If I'm saying his name wrong, butchering, I'm sorry, but I'm going to say it's Plasaneka in the number 13.
Down pit road. Oh my!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so Plasaneka has got a problem.
Yeah, and that's going to actually count as first lap because he's going to start finishing on the road. And that's unfortunate for him. I'll probably what is going on?
Wow. Whatever he did, he pitted, and then he entered on the racetrack again.
He had an unsafe pit exit, had a stop, had a quick little probably pass through, and he decided to take it instead of just stopping and resetting like Justin White did. And that's going to wait for a lap.
That's going to hurt him.
Yeah.
One lap. Only one lap.
That is going to be a little bit of a mistake. But Tyler, we've seen that. It only takes one lap, right? Everybody's been getting it done on their first lap. So maybe, just maybe, he might be saved by that. But yes, I agree. Whenever you're coming out on the back straightaway and you get to turn 3 and you see that notorious black flag, I would just stop and reset. There's no harm, no foul in doing that. So,
hey, Brady.
But we'll see. We'll see how it turns out for him. Go ahead, Wesley.
Brady, I got to ask you a question. The number 14 entry, the 43 from Mooresville, Race City, USA, obviously. Is that my buddy Timothy Peters that used to compete in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series and the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts late models?
I'm not sure. He's another one that signed up.
Timothy Peters?
I have no idea, Wesley.
That's a name I haven't heard in forever, Wesley. Holy crap.
Well,
man, I'm feeling old now.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll have to find that out. And look, guys, we still got 3.5 hours left of this session. Now, we're not going to cover it all, but, there's some guys that, working and whatnot, and they asked, hey, could you make the session go a little bit longer? So I did, so we won't find out until, a little bit past, well, it'd be, past midnight for me. It'd be past 1:30 for Tyler and those guys on the East Coast, Wesley, yourself included.
Yeah, me too. I'll be in bed.
So yeah, we'll wake up in the morning and find out these results and post them in the Discord and create the starting lineups for everybody. So for the dual race, the dual number 1 race. But yeah, no, we'll have to find out and we'll cover the dual races, so we'll be able to find out as this event goes on.
Brady, what is the format for the duels? Is it going to be like 150 miles, basically like what we see in the NASCAR Cup Series when they run the Blue Vacation duels at Daytona? Basically, 150 miles, 60 laps?
Actually, I want to say it's 50 laps times 2.5. Might have to get the math on you for that one, but it's going to be a 50 lap race each.
That's
125
125 miles. It's like the twin
Yeah.
25s back in the day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's going to be the 50 lapper. We're making it to where you got to make the fuel pit stop if it goes green the entire time, and those guys that's running in the first duel, the guys in duel 2 will be able to watch them next week and kind of watch the broadcast, see how it goes, and then
There you go.
the week after that we'll have duel number 2. So it's all about seeing which one's going to be the calmer one. Usually when we do these events in our regular series on Mondays and Fridays, you always have a calm one and you have an aggressive one. So it's going to be interesting to see if that kind of goes hand in hand with what we're doing with this event.
We'll find out. Obviously, those twin 125s are going to be fun. And obviously, you got one night, 125 miles, 50 laps to line up the inside row. The outside row will be decided from that second night, which is kind of special, Brady, because usually the twins on the Cop Series or the Sim Racer Hub Series is usually the twin races on the same night. Now you've got a chance to obviously refresh and see what you see if you're in duel 2. Take advantage of watching duel number 1. Find the good, the bad, and the ugly, Tyler Dittmer, that you can use for your advantage in race number 2, as here comes St. Augustine, Florida's Stogie's Trackhouse Racing, Pugh Racing, entry number 19, Jonathan Pugh on the racetrack, but in his Chevrolet. But am I right though, Tyler Dittmer, in the infield at the World Center of Racing? You literally take advantage if you're in that outside row to watch duel 1 to know what you can and can't do to put yourself in the spot to be in a good starting position.
For sure, Wesley, you learned that position, but now we have Justin White. And Justin, I got to ask you straight up. Did you get a black flag for unsafe pit entry on that first time? Is that why you reset? It's honest. It's fine if you did, but did you?
Yes, I did. My wheel when I kicked it on, it pulled to the left just slightly, and I'm like, okay, it's fine. It's not a big deal. I'll take off. And then all of a sudden, I got to the banking, and it started to pull right, and it started to do this cutoff. I don't know what was going on with it. It started doing this flicker cutoff, and I'm like, oh, I had better stop, because then it instantly turned the wheel left all the way 90 degrees, and I was still going straight down the backstretch.
Wow.
And I said, oh, that's bad.
Wow, man.
Well, I got a question for Justin. You're currently you just joined right before qualifying started. You messaged me and said, "Hey man, can I jump in? I know I'm late." And I was like, "Sure, yeah." I mean, this session's 4.5 hours long, and you're currently P8 at super speedways because you would be in duel number 2 as it sits right now. It looks like, unless you get knocked off further down. Now you're going to stay in 8th, so you're currently in the second duel. Are you going to be watching next week's duel? The race number 1 to see how that race goes and try to figure out what's going to happen in 2 weeks when you race in duel number 2 as it sits?
Absolutely. I'm definitely going to be watching and trying to see how the trucks draft, see where you can get the runs, where you can lay back a little bit, get a little extra speed, especially coming off 4, because we all know, watching so many iRacing or even real life racings, any super speedway, the race is off of 4. Especially if you're in line, yeah. I mean, that's where you win or lose it. So that's where you got to time your run just right.
Justin White joining us in the booth on the NASRA 360 Racing Network. Qualifications continue. Pugh crosses the line, 52.098. Slower, lap number 2, 52.206. White, we're noticing usually the first lap would probably be the fastest lap. We're not seeing that, though. We're seeing the second lap sometimes be the fastest, or even the latter. What's your take on what these guys are doing with qualifying? And if you could go back and re-qualify again, would you rather want to qualify either at the beginning or way in the back at the end?
Watching it right now, I kind of wish I had waited a little longer, because I'm starting to notice the time of what time it is in the session, which is running about 10:46 a.m.
Sure.
So it's getting warmer. The track's getting warmer, regardless of what it's reporting. It is slightly getting warmer even with the overcast, and I'm noticing that the tires are taking a little bit more time to get a little warmed up. So if I had to do it all over again, I would be running the top on lap 1 and then tucking it down to the bottom, trying to build up as much momentum in that truck as I could, because for some reason it seemed like the gearing was slightly lower or higher this time around. So I think that has to deal with how much humidity is in the air, because it looks like it's 34%, and then how much heat.
Fan attack entry number 47 almost slammed the safer barrier up to 31 degrees of banking in Daytona. Aiden Kirk on track from Houston, Texas. And Brady, this is the all-in-one Auto Works Kirk Motorsports number 47. This is the driver we just spoke to a moment ago from the Lone Star State, and he about had a nice kiss with the passenger side of that truck into the outside safer wall barrier.
Yeah, and that's what you don't want to do, right? Like, you don't want to do anything to cause, damage to your truck. That right front is so important aerodynamically. But at the same time, you want to slow down your momentum, right? So you want to, this first lap right here is going to be a scratch. He'll probably be, towards the bottom of the field. And then hopefully he can kind of carry that momentum and maybe, just maybe, get a top 5, starting spot right here for his dual race. But like Justin said, that sun, we've kind of seen it in the past 15 minutes. I wanted to bring it up. We've seen the cloud cover kind of stay, but come and go on the back straightaway. The sun come out and kind of warm up the track just a little bit. And that's, that's how it kind of goes sometimes, Wesley, with this qualifying order. Sometimes you wish you would have went early, and sometimes you wish you would have went a little bit later.
Aiden Kirk, a much better lap as he works his way, 52.180. Barkley, Parsons, Wigginton, Blanchard, Bullock, top 5. Qualifications continue here at the virtual World Center of Racing in preparation for this NASRA special event that comes up on September the 14th. In the next month, it's part of the 2023 inaugural King of Daytona and the NASRA 250. I'm Wesley Outland, as Brady just mentioned my name, Brady LaBeouf, alongside the boss of the North American Sim Racing Association, Cody Knott, also handling the production. We've got Tyler Dittmer in the infield at the real Daytona International Speedway in preparation for the NASCAR Xfinity Series Wawa 250 and the NASCAR Cup Series final regular season race before the playoffs, and their 75th anniversary is Whoa Kirk. Captain Kirk, Tyler, about ate the wall. He really got on the binders. Yeah. This is going to hurt his time.
Yeah, he's just pulling off. He's done. That's going to end his qualifying opportunity. And Wesley, you bring up the Wawa 250 and the Coke Zero Sugar 400 tomorrow night. Brady, we made race picks last week for the Watkins Glen races, and I would just like to point out that if someone had taken our pick and gone to a casino or a sports betting institution, especially my pick for the Xfinity Series race, they would have won a nice amount of money, Brady. With Sam Mayer, who was not the favorite, wasn't even a top 3 favorite going into that race, goes out and pulls the victory. Questionable move, Brady, as we see that is the number 78 of Jeffrey Sickles there on the track.
Yep.
Brady, your thoughts on the move between Sam Mayer and Ty Gibbs after, Ty Gibbs kind of roughed him up through the S's?
Oh, I mean, hey, it's just like the person that picked them. I really, I didn't really put it past him to do it. I mean, the opportunity was there. He felt like he got it done the time before, so why not repay the favor? I'm okay with the move, actually. I think there's a big battle on Saturday when it comes to Cup guys racing with the Xfinity guys. And the Xfinity guys, take note of that and want to make moves like that. Not necessarily, to dump somebody for a win, but to say, hey, you're not going to come on Saturday and race with us regular guys when we're racing for championships, points, and wins, and come take them away from us. And, you kind of heard that in Sam's interview, hey, the Xfinity, this wins for the Xfinity regulars. So, I thought it was a great pick. I like my pick too, Cole Custer. I had him picked, and he was one of the fastest guys until he just couldn't get out of his own way. But that's I guess for a different episode. But yeah, as we see Jeff come Jeff Sickles, we just talked to him, a 52.117.
Yep.
That's going to put him currently P10, Wesley, on the board. But yeah, congratulations to Sam Mayer and those guys. But oh man, it just kind of like Cole Custer was kind of like Chase Elliott on Sunday. Just couldn't get out your way, and yeah, I don't see Alec Gustafson having a job next season.
Jeffrey, yeah, I'll give you my analogy and the thoughts on that here in a minute. As Jeffrey Sickles works down the back stretch, climbs the 31 degrees of banking, stays hugged to the bottom, right where the double yellow line is. The driver, of course, out of Milltown, New Jersey, the DSR Electric Swim, Sick With It Motorsports entry. Toyota comes storming down the tri-oval off of turn 4 to the start box, working to the flag stand. 52.117 quicker. 52.027 second. Swim and RTR right now on the front row.
100%.
That is awesome. That was awesome.
Gotta wonder, Brady LaBeouf, when we had Jeffrey in here, you mentioned him saying he was watching what these other drivers were doing, seeing what was working and not working. He just made it work. He might not be on the pole, but he's put himself on the outside of the front row, and that's a pretty good lap.
Awesome lap by Jeff Sickles. Awesome lap. Oh man. I didn't think that. I didn't see. I'm shocked right now.
I didn't see that coming. I thought maybe RTR. I thought Rhett Tucker, Tyler Dittmer was going to be somebody we would say would do something like this. Not Jeff Sickles, not the boss of swim. But man, he played this perfectly. And I'm going to be honest with y'all here. I don't see what the conditions are with the track. I think the track is warming up. I think we're moving into the afternoon of the day because it started in a morning practice qualifying session. Tyler, I just don't see any other drivers cracking under 51 seconds. I just don't see this happening. I really don't.
I don't see it either, especially as the cloud cover has moved out, it looks like, at the virtual Daytona International Superspeedway. I will say this. With the way that Jeff ran that lap, he did everything he needed to, and guess what? It was the second lap because he ran that first lap well enough to carry more speed into that second lap than he did with the first lap. Now, the last driver, I believe, that had ran a practice lap, Justin Lumpkin's coming out for his qualifying session. Hunter Parsons gets knocked off the front row. Jeff Sickles right now and Barclay. Front row, Wesley. We did not see that coming at the beginning of the night.
No, I did not. Here comes now the Darren's Nail Gun Repair. By the way, they're the sponsor of the white flag for our NASRA coverage of NASRA races. This is the TRD Toyota number 18 from the land of Dixie from Corinth, Mississippi. Another swim driver. This is Justin Lumpkin working up on the top of the racetrack as he gets ready to come to speed, taking the green flag. Time to beat 51.810. And back to you guys' point as far as the Hot Lap podcast. Sam Mayer and Cole Custer, both good friends of mine, drivers that, in my opinion, and Brady, I want to hear your thoughts, and Tyler as well. I think that they got through into the NASCAR system a little too quicker than they needed to be. You look at Cole Custer. The only NASCAR win he had was in the pandemic in 2020 at Kentucky. He was the final winner running the Cup Series. Granted, he lucked up in that Haas win in the 00 that night. He still had a good run. I'm not saying that. But I think that they tried to quickly raise the bar for Custer to move faster into the Cup Series. I just don't think he was at that mature level yet. The same thing I would say is about Sam Mayer, last year's ARCA Series champion. Take your time with him at Junior Motorsports. Don't rush to get this young man in the Cup Series. I see it so many times as Lumpkin, by the way, right now, outside the top 15, 52.254. He's got to pick it up for the swim 18 entry. But Brady and Tyler, I want to get your thoughts on this. Bottom line, don't rush to get these guys up to the top level of Cup, and then they get through to the Wolves because they're just not mentally focused or ready or mature enough. And I don't want to insult anybody by saying that, but I see this happen in this sport all the time. As Lumpkin crosses the line, he is going to climb to 11th, 52.102. Brady, what's your take on that, my friend?
Yeah, absolutely. Unless you're a guy like, Chase Elliott, Ty Gibbs, guys like that are promotable, deserve to be there. Yes, you want to get them time in this next gen car, right? It's a different car, so you want to get them in there. But guys like, the Sam Mayers, the Cole Custers, the Ryan Preece, the Todd Gillens of the world, it's almost like they're just being thrown in there because, that's the best available. But at the same time, I would say that I blame that on Ford. Because, Tyler and I talked about this on Hot Laps, about a month ago. I think Ford is probably the weakest, manufacturer when it comes to driver development. And they lack in bringing guys to Ford and developing them all the way through. Now, I mean, Chris Buescher, has done he's kind of stuck through it. And now he's starting to blossom a little bit with Brad Keselowski coming over there to Roush Fenway Racing. But yeah, I think Ford is to blame for a lot of that stuff too.
Tyler, what do you think, buddy? You agree or disagree with me or Brady?
Cole Custer, I agree. Sam Mayer, I don't agree, and here's why. So this is his second year in Xfinity. Correct me if I'm wrong. He actually ran last year full time. I think he won the ARCA championship 2 years ago now.
Yes, 2 years ago. Yes.
So Mayer had that experience in his first year. He didn't perform well, but he's come into this season and he has more wins in the Xfinity Series than Josh Berry does, than Brandon Jones does. Two drivers who have much higher expectations of Junior Motorsports. I think him having that rookie experience last year was a good thing for him. Yeah, he wasn't very successful, but you know what? He's coming to this year. He has 2 race wins. He has more wins than Justin Allgaier does. He is the leading driver of Junior Motorsports when it comes to getting his car into victory lane. Maybe not consistent week in, week out, but he knows how to get the job done. On the other end of the spectrum, you have Cole Custer. Driver, like you said, Wesley, had that 1 win at Kentucky. Wasn't really a super impressive win. I'm pretty sure it was a late race kind of green-white checkered situation he ended up winning.
Yep,
maybe a little bit different strategy call.
Yeah.
Cole Custer has always he did great in the Xfinity Series level, but that was also before drivers like Austin Hill, Austin Cindric, Ty Gibbs came along and dominated the Xfinity Series more so than Cole Custer did. And I would argue that Brady's point as Ford not developing drivers properly is correct, because look at Hailie Deegan. No offense to Hailie Deegan. She is a much better driver in regards to her abilities if she was in the Xfinity Series.
No. Don't even go there, Tyler. Oh, my goodness. Don't even go there. Come on.
She outperformed Riley Herbst in an Xfinity Series race at Las Vegas. Riley Herbst, who's been in the Xfinity Series for 3 years, Wesley, now, who did not wreck in that Las Vegas race, got beat by Hailie Deegan in a less prepared car.
I don't want to break anybody's hearts here. Tyler, we're going to have to agree to disagree here, my friend. And I will say this. I think that Hailie Deegan's not ready to go to Cup. She's not ready to go to Xfinity. I don't think she has got that level yet to move up into those cars. And honestly, she had, hang on a minute. She had an opportunity, I think, to really excel and do well with Team ThorSport this year. And she's just not prospered, except with maybe a top 5, maybe a top 10 finish. I just don't see the results there. I really don't. Now, is she going to climb the ladder because she's a female? Probably. And NASCAR is probably going to use her as the next Danica Patrick? Probably so. But I just don't. I think that there's other great talents should be in that seat besides Hailie Deegan. Sorry. And I mean, I'm just being honest. I mean, I know I was at Eldora and Motor Mile when she ran SRX, and she done really, really well. And I know those cars are different than what they are in the NASCAR world, but I don't know. Brady, are you going to agree with me or disagree on this with Haley Diggin as we await the next qualifier here?
I just had to run about a half a mile down pit road to catch up with Justin Lumpkin. So I'm just going to agree to disagree or just say no comment with either one of y'all. We'll save that for maybe a Hot Lives question one night and coming up in a couple of weeks, and we'll bring you on as a special guest, and we can go at it again. But Justin Lumpkin, you got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
So tell us a little bit about your lap. I know it's probably not the lap you were looking for after you watch your boss man, your teammate with Sick With It Motorsports kind of go up there and disrupt that front row and knock Hunter Parsons back to the second row. Tell us a little bit about what the track was doing and what the truck was doing a little bit to kind of take you away from getting up there to the top five.
Man, honestly, I don't think it was really nothing to do with the track. I was sitting there. We were sitting there talking, me and Jeff, and I even told him, I said, I was giving him tips on what to do because this is just stuff that I know, but I told him, I said, I never put it into action. I'm always slow at super speedway qualifying. So, and I'm glad to see that he got on the front row. I'm happy for him. He's an awesome boss, man. I'm just happy for him. But when I got out there, it's just, I tried to follow what I knew to do, and it just didn't work out. You know, maybe the wind just blew the wrong way at the wrong time. I know the track kept heating up and getting colder, and then it'd get overcast again. It'd heat up, get warmer. You know, it's just a lot of changes out there.
I got to ask you this question, Justin. Always great catching up with you, man. Did you expect qualifying to be the way that it is right now? And what can you attest of it being what it is? And obviously, you got to at least be optimistic. You are 11th in qualifying. If anything, that's a good starting spot for the dual race, right? Race one.
Oh yeah, man. It's Daytona. Qualifying, it's awesome to be at the front and go ahead and get locked in if you can get on that front row. But once you get to the races, it's a crapshoot. You know, you just take care of your trucks, you run your race, and you just got to make sure you're there at the end. You never know if you're going to get a wrong bump or somebody's going to get bumped into you. It's just you come out here and run your own race, and you take care of business when the time comes.
Tyler, what you got for Justin Lumpkin, man? What are you seeing that he can do differently on the track and qualifying? And hopefully me and you can be friends and agree to disagree about Haley Diggin.
No worries, Wesley. It's all just a matter of opinion. Who really cares? At the end of the day, NASCAR teams will do what they want to. Justin, honestly, great talking with you, man. I appreciate the conversation you and I had. I know I didn't get to respond to you, but I did read your message that you sent to me. I took it to heart, and I hope you understand that I have no ill feelings towards you at Vegas. You know, rough racing. I think I was just frustrated in the moment, considering we still had 70 laps to go. But I agree with you. Who cares about qualifying? If you're not on the front row, it doesn't matter anymore. You don't need to improve your qualifying. Go out there and run the race you want to run. But, Justin, because of the position you're probably in right now, are you going to be more or less aggressive going into the duels?
The duels, I'll probably be more aggressive, just to try to just to see what I can do. You know, try to see where I can get the run, see who I can push with, who I can work with. Of course, if I can get with my teammates, I got Brian and Jeff in here. I definitely want to work with them. But in the duels, you can kind of find that extra person or that extra driver that you might be able to work with whenever the big day comes. And I think that I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive for the duels than I would be for the big race. So in the big race, I'm just going to try to take it easy and try to be there at the end for the main prize.
Well, there you go. I'll be honest with you here. You know, Justin, it seems to me like our friend Tyler Dittmer has got more enemies on the NASRA circuit than I think he realizes for sure. You know, and here's the deal. Obviously, former colleague in the booth, and I mean, turns great racer. Where do you, Tyler, draw the line of putting I mean, they're calling you what, Golden Boy, I think it is, and you kind of, it sounds like ruffled some people's feathers in the last couple of races, either Monday or Friday night. But Tyler, also in your defense, people have ruffled your feathers too. So I mean, you know, if you're out there, I don't know if you're going to per se run this race. I don't think you are, but if you're out there, how would you do qualifying differently?
You know what? It's so hard qualifying. It's a really crapshoot. I agree with Justin. If the wind blows the wrong way, you can get screwed. And the sim is really, really good at mimicking, changes of wind and all of that. So I agree with Justin regarding that. In regards to the enemies conversation, Wesley, it's kind of disappointing to hear that people don't like me. I mean, I try to race everyone respectfully and cleanly, and obviously I get frustrated when things don't happen. I think at the right time. If I'm getting wrecked one to go for the win, yeah, I'll be mad, but I'm be more understanding if I get wrecked with 70 to go. And I don't think Justin meant to wreck me. I definitely don't believe that, and I'm glad Justin and I have had those talks. But the golden boy nickname, it's whatever, Wesley. It doesn't really bother me, and at the end of the day, I think it's just jealousy from certain drivers who haven't had the same amount of success I've had this season, and maybe some frustration on their part. I haven't run for almost a full year, and I come in and I lead the points. I run, one less race in the field, and I'm still leading the points. I only have 10 starts, Wesley. All these guys have 11.
Yeah. Brady, I will say this, man, you're going to have to kind of throw the gauntlet down on some of these guys because it's definitely got kind of wild and woolly the last probably 3 weeks for the NASRA Monday Night Series with the run push to the playoffs. I know there's a lot of pressure going in these Monday night races, and if there was patience, it's gone.
Well, I tell you what, when I first, came into this with Michael McKinnon, I wanted to feel that pressure. I didn't want it to just be like official racing and, hey, we're just going to show up every week. The guys are feeling the pressure, and that's what you want. You want pressure, you want emotion, you want guys to feel like they have a purpose, right? Whenever they show up to these things. And it's a big deal whenever, you're taking, we changed the format. We don't do 16 anymore. We do top 20 make the playoffs. So it's a kind of a big deal when you can't be one of those top 20 guys and you see them go on and win and make it to the final 6 instead of the final 4, and you see, oh well, this person won $500 and this person won $250, etc., and so on, and you're not in a money spot. You feel that pressure, you feel that kind of hurt, and yeah, you kind of we take a week off in between seasons, and here comes speed weeks back up, so you kind of you're down in the dumps for a good week or so, but and you get to move on to the next season because there's 2 seasons in a year. But whenever you don't make it, you feel that pain. So I want to touch base on something because we are doing the podcast a little bit. So I want to touch on a hot laps question real quick, since you guys were bringing up the whole Cole Custer and I don't Haley Deegan before we started fighting on the broadcast. One of my hot laps questions to Tyler, and you can touch on this too, Wesley. The whole Shane Van Gisbergen deal, the SVG stuff. I took a picture of this, and I'm going to read it to you, Wesley. I took a picture and I sent it to our podcast group because I wanted to have an opinion about it, but I'll let you two go about it first. I'm going to read y'all a quote from Justin Marks with Trackhouse, the Trackhouse owner. And he says, and I quote, and this is in regards to SVG coming to, full-time cup racing. He says, we have to be very, very calculated and intelligent about how we build a program for him. It doesn't make sense to just win a Chicago race, come run 10th at Indy, and then go cup racing full-time. What are y'all thoughts about that?
I agree. I agree. Listen, you got a guy like Shane Van Gisbergen from obviously New Zealand, multiple-time champion of the V8 Supercar Series in Australia. He comes to the Chicago street race, something new in the world of NASCAR. It's never been done in the fabric of the diamond anniversary of the sport, and in fighting the weather, fighting the elements. He pulls off a massive win that something's not done in NASCAR since 1960, with somebody being a first-time winner to do it. And I'll be honest here. I don't want to say that it was a fluke, Tyler Dittmer. I feel like me and you are kind of having an undisputed moment with one another. I don't want to say that it was a fluke, but I agree with Trackhouse. I do. I agree with Justin Marks. I don't think we need to rush putting him on the high banks of Daytona, at Charlotte, at Bristol, because he might be great on the street course racing these cars, but I just don't think he is per se at that level yet to run on a full-time NASCAR Cup Series 36 race schedule and show the talents to get it done. Look at what he did at Indy. Okay, he got a top 10. Not saying that that's bad, but it wasn't a win. But he didn't drive the way he did at the Chicago Street Race either. So I agree, Brady. I believe that Justin Marks is dead on with this. Tyler, what do you got?
So wholeheartedly agree with you, Wesley. And here's one. Like you said, it was a perfect storm, Chicago. Street race. No one has been on that track before. They're all in pretty much the exact same car. It is truly a stock car series now, if we want to get into all that whole argument. All the cars are very similar. And you know what? He has street course experience. Bumps, understanding that there's going to be weird undulations, manhole covers, how that affects braking.
Yep.
And it was a perfect storm with the weather. He's raced in that weather before. He's raced on street courses before. It was perfect for him to get that win. You go to Indy. He has less practice time than most of these drivers. He has spent less time on that track. He finishes 10th. Do I think that maybe with more practice at Indianapolis road course that he finishes top 5, maybe top 3? Of course I do. But I agree with you. Oval-wise, he is not there yet. I mean, look at his Truck Series oval finish. I'll pull up the results right now. He didn't finish very, very well at all. I can give you an answer. Well, okay. He finished 19th.
Or 19th.
He finished top 20. Cool. In a truck, though, that has been relatively fast. So the 41, whenever you see Cup guys get into it, are very fast, very successful. So I will say this. Do I think he deserves a full-time Cup ride? Sure. Do I think we should have the expectations of him winning races all the time? No. And do I think Trackhouse is being smart about his development, unlike Ford has in the past? Of course, because they're not going to put him in a full-time Cup ride because they know that it's not going to teach him anything. He needs to just learn how to run an oval, how to run a super speedway race. They're very, very different beasts in a street course, a road course, or a short track. Daytona, 2.5 miles, 31 degrees banking. Wesley, we talked about it, versus IRP, less than 12 degrees banking, half-mile track. Very, very different races.
Brady, to add to that, I would say, let him run a couple of NASCAR races. Obviously, we know the NASCAR street race is coming back to Chicago next year. It's a given. You know it is. It's probably going to expand. I know Dallas. I know Los Angeles. I even know that New York City, downtown New York City, the Big Apple, where they celebrate the ball drop every year on New Year's Eve, has threw their name in the hat to possibly get a NASCAR street race. Hell, in my opinion, NASCAR, create a street race series. Problem solved. I don't know if they'll do that, but obviously I think that we've sparked an interest here. It's entertainment, and that's what a lot of people have got to realize. It's entertainment. You've got to find a way to entertain these people, entertain these fans, especially in this day and age with the young youth, the capacity of being drawn to what's going on in front of you. Attention spans are not what they used to be. The fan of the car is not what it used to be, Brady and Tyler. And you've got to find things to listen. I think we need to bring the stage races back to the road courses. We saw some of the bornest road racing at Watkins Glen and Indianapolis, in my opinion, because of it. And I think if we, I think if we brought the stages back, at least you get a caution and you bunch everybody up for the restarts. We see that every week when we do NASRA at the end of stages. How many times have we seen snoozes? Thank goodness the caution comes out. You bunch everybody up for the double start in the Geico restart zone, and the races are actually pretty damn entertaining to the finish.
I agree to that point to an extent. At least have one, at least have, one stage break. Whether you go green for the one, like how NASRA does it. We stay green on stage 1, and then stage 2 we throw the caution, kind of bunch everybody up the halfway point of the race. Yeah, because I agree. Yes, was it good to watch guys like Michael McDowell, dominate Indy? And you had William Byron, who I knew was going to be a great race car driver at Watkins Glen. He showed strength at Indy, and he just carried that over at Watkins Glen and just dominated that race once he took the lead. So yeah, I mean, I think you should have one caution in there, to kind of keep everything bunched up.
Qualifying.
I love it. I don't love it. I don't like options. Like a natural race, Wesley. Call me old-fashioned. Call me boring. I don't want to see manufactured drama. I want to see a race. If someone doesn't show up to compete, that is on them. Best car wins.
And I'll say this in closing too, and I think everybody will agree with me in saying amen in this. We've got to find a way to get the rich money out of the sport, because if we don't, it's going to kill the sport. I'm sorry. I'm a 30-year broadcaster. I see it happening year after year. I agree with what Kyle Busch said. I think it's a crutch that you can have $6 million, have mommy, daddy's money, big sponsor money, and you can be able to run and tear crap up week in, week out. But you got a sponsor. I just, Coors Light, number 65. I'm going to change my mind here. The 979 Racing Coors Light entry from Citrus Springs, Florida, back to qualifying. Here is the 18th qualifier. This is Curtis Rogers on the track. But I believe the sport's become too expensive, Brady and Tyler. I think you both could agree with me on that, and it's gotten out of hand, and we got to find a way to fix it for sure.
Well, look at GMS Racing, Wesley. GMS Racing just closed down because Legacy Motor Club's moving to Toyota. I would argue the Cup Series is probably cheaper right now than the Xfinity Series, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. would disagree because of the charter costs, but I think Dale Earnhardt Jr. would agree when it comes to car manufacturer costs. The charter right now is actually what I think is the biggest barrier to entry for the Cup Series. And although it has done well in guaranteeing that if an owner wants to get out of the sport, there is value to their team, it is actually hurting the ability for the sport to grow because it is impossible for new teams to enter due to the cost, because the sport's actually kind of become more popular again. Tracks are selling out more races than they ever have.
Rogers qualifying 52-133 quicker. No, 52-193. Staying at 13th right now for the driver of the number 65 entry. And qualifying under 3 hours remaining. As Brady LaBeouf mentioned, qualifying is going to go all the way until about 1:30 in the morning time. That's 1:30 Eastern time, 12:30 Pacific when qualifying closes. And bottom line here, Brady, if you're going to put down a lap, you better do it, and you better do it now, because I think we're only moving into the later part of the day here in the sim. What did we start at 10:30? Whenever they started qualifying, I think it's going to be in the heat of the day in the afternoon. If you push it to that last minute, I think you're SOL. I really do. I think if you're fighting the sun, if you go for that last hour, you pretty much put yourself in the top 20 on back. I honestly think who we have in the top 15, top 18 is who we've got. Literally. I don't think anybody's going to climb overnight. I really don't.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see once we wake up tomorrow to see the results, to see who was able to do that, crack that barrier. But like you said, it's going to get hotter. The track's going to, heat up once we get to the noon time or whatnot. But, that's about going to wrap it up for us tonight, because guys will periodically come in here. They still got some guys at work. They still got guys doing other things. So they're going to come in here and run their lap, where the chips may fall. But I believe Curtis Rogers will probably be the last one we would cover. So maybe next time we'll have a bunch more guys, and we kind of continue with interviews and everything. It was pretty fun, but yeah, I think that's about going to wrap us up. Any closing remarks, Wesley, Tyler?
I think we should make picks for everything this weekend. I want Friday night Kansas picks. I want Xfinity Friday night picks. I want Cup Series Saturday. I want Monday night picks. Gotta give them to me, gentlemen.
I really like this idea. I think the King of Daytona for the NASRA Sim events is just the start. I love the fact that it's going to lead up to, you've got a month and you've got some type of qualification to make it in. And obviously it's not just going to be Daytona, but it is going to be Daytona for the first one, for the pinnacle. It is the world center of racing. It is where they kick off every year in Speed Weeks, besides the Clash. And literally, I think we're going to see this King of Daytona NASRA 250 inaugural event be an exciting event, Brady LaBeouf. And I think it's going to get more exciting. And year after year, the hype will build. These events are going to be exciting. Hell, I'm ready to see us go a full 600 miles. Let's do the All-Star race at Charlotte, and let's do the qualifying and do things of that nature, and go 600 miles, 400 laps. You want to talk about a true endurance race? Maybe put some money on the line with some sponsors. I think that this is some of the ideas, Brady, that I think you're working on, and I'm glad to be a part of it, buddy, for sure.
Yeah, so to Tyler's questions, believe he was kind of cutting out, but I believe he wants Friday night, then Xfinity Saturday night, and then Cup Sunday, and then Sim Racer Hub Monday. Tyler?
Yeah, sorry about that. I've been trying to get some things organized. Yes, I agree. Brady.
So
All those picks.
I said it earlier in the show. Justin White's going to be my Kansas pick. Joey
Maybe in the winter.
Joey Doucette would be a close one because we've seen him win the 75% race there the last time he raced at Kansas on Friday night. But I'm going with Justin White. He's familiar with the short fuel cells. He raced in Bluegrass. They ran 50%. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Justin White is my Friday night Cops Truck Series, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Justin White wins that race tomorrow night. Saturday Xfinity race. I haven't really looked.
They run.
I mean Friday night Xfinity. I'm sorry, Xfinity race. I haven't really seen the entry list. I don't know if any Cup regulars are in there.
Are we talking Daytona? Are we talking NASCAR?
Yeah, we're talking NASCAR Friday night.
So Justin has a pass through. I'll give you that, Brady. Justin Haley will be running the Cog number 10. Trevor Baines in the JGR number 19. That's all I know for any weird entries.
I'm gonna tell you guys, and I'm gonna tell you exactly who I think's gonna. I'm gonna call it. I'll tell you exactly who I think's gonna win the race, obviously, and put himself into the take the win. I'm sorry, is what I was trying to say. My apologies. For the Xfinity Series, I'm gonna go with Sheldon Creed, hands down.
I like it.
I'm going to go with Sheldon Creed. Listen, don't count him out. How many times has Sheldon Creed been on the cusp of literally winning at Daytona and something goes haywire or chaos? Listen, I know he's in the top 10 in the points, but he doesn't have a win. But man, I'm telling you, I think that Sheldon Creed is going to get himself out of that proverbial zero bubble of being in by virtue of points and get a win at Daytona and finally get redemption on the deuce at the World Center of Racing. Now, for the Cup Series, yeah, I'm going to shock y'all when I say this. I'm going to tell you right now. I believe Austin Dillon's going to win. Austin Dillon is going to win. He's going to do just like he did last year. He's going to win the race and put himself back in the playoffs like he did last year on that Sunday afternoon after that crazy race with the weather. Those are my picks.
I'm going Justin White. Justin White for the truck race, our truck race, NASRA's race tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Xfinity, I'm going Brandon Jones.
Ooh,
my heart wants to take Austin Hill, but I'm going Brandon Jones. I think as a sleeper pick, and then Saturday night I'm going. Man, I just don't see the playoffs without Chase Elliott. I'm going Chase Elliott Saturday night.
It happening.
It possibly could, but I want to see somebody leapfrog. I know Keselowski's in on points, Harvick's in on points. It's a crapshoot, right? I mean, it's a lottery pick. I mean, so why not go with somebody you're a fan of? Why not pull for somebody you like? If we were going somewhere else, like say Vegas or Richmond, of course my pick would be somebody different. But it's a lottery pick. I have a better chance at going to the local gas station and getting a Powerball ticket and possibly winning the Powerball before getting this pick right, just because of how
that's just not how math works, Brady.
Well, I mean,
that's just not how math
I'm not
works.
going by the math. I'm just saying it's a lottery pick.
Wild card. Wild card, guys. Can we have a wild card? Can I tell you who it is on my end? Corey LaJoy. Watch Corey LaJoy.
Okay, I like that one.
Well, if we're doing wild card picks, I'll go out as far as wild card pick. No, I'm gonna do Ty Gibbs as a wild card.
That's not a wild card though. He's 19th.
Yeah, it
He's
is.
what, 17th in points?
No, I mean, well, maybe, but
he is
still.
17th in points.
He's on the outside looking in.
Would you expect him to win that race tomorrow? Is what I'm getting at. He's not a Kyle
I don't know
Busch.
what the
He's not a
odds look
Denny
like.
Hamlin. He's not a Martin Truex Jr.
No, I
I mean,
agree.
to me, he's a wild card. I mean, look at the odds. I bet you he's not even top 10 in the odds.
No,
guys, look at Daniel Suarez. Look at him. He's not even. I mean, look at the year he's had. You know, I mean.
And then I'm going to go Canadian Tire. I mean, of course, if Blake
Alex
shows
Bowman
up,
has sucked this year.
Blake's gonna win that race Monday if he shows up. But if he doesn't, I'm gonna go Joey Doucette.
For what? The Monday night race at
Sim Racer
Canadian Tire?
Yeah.
Oh, if Blake Lothian shows up, I think you can write the check to the 43.
I agree.
What are your picks,
Tyler? So.
I picked Tyler Dittmer to win Monday night. I picked Tyler Dittmer.
Wesley, I'm not running. I'm missing a second regular season race. It's so
never
sad.
mind then.
Yeah. There you go, Wesley. You can't even pick me. Friday night, I'm going to take Keith Bradley. I think he gets the job done. After bouncing back, after spinning himself out at Milwaukee and Iowa not going the way he wanted to. Xfinity Series, I'm going to be boring, and I'm going to take Austin Hill because everyone's too afraid to beat him on a super speedway. Cup Series, I'm going to take Denny Hamlin. And that's my legitimately, I think he'll win pick. And then my wild card, I'm going to take Justin Haley. Not really a wild card, but it is because
Justin's won Daytona before, though. He has. Yeah.
He has won this race specifically. He's won the Coke Zero 400. So he is one heck of a talent super speedways. I think he can get it done. Monday night, the Blake Lothian pick's the right pick, but I'm not going to pick the same driver as Brady because that would be weak. I'll take Adam Newton. I think he gets the job done. He had the third most stage points at the Roval behind Blake and myself. He had 15 stage points, I believe. So I think Adam Newton will win.
Well, if you're not racing Monday night, I'm going with Brady LaBeouf. I got to go with the boss.
Oh
yeah.
Oh, he's trying to butter us up, Brady.
Adam's not going to beat me.
Oh, Brady.
I love his confidence. I love it.
Yeah, you and Hunter Parsons are really confident in this sport. I'm going to tell you, you guys have not been there recently. The track is much different than what it was. The setup is
I've been running laps all week. There's only one corner that I have problems with, and I know I'm going to master it by Sunday night. So I feel good about it. I know where I need to be at. I'm in the 122s, the 123s. So yeah, so I know what I need to do. It's just one corner that I'm losing about 2/10 off of, and I'm going to figure it out before Sunday. So.
Well, I just want to say, guys, thank you for having me be in the booth on play-by-play for the NASRA series and this special event for the qualifying night for the inaugural King of Daytona. Obviously, the duels I think are going to be exciting, and I guess thank you for having me on the Hot Lap podcast as well, because it kind of became both. Yeah.
I will have you on. You and I can hash out our Haley Deegan differences later.
We're gonna have well, I will say this. Hopefully, you don't think the world of Natalie Decker, because
no.
Okay, good.
I think she's the worst talent to come to the Xfinity Series in a while.
Good. Thank you. What a waste of a steering wheel and a waste of a car. Putting that. I mean, I'm just. And I want to say this before I make anybody mad out there. I'm not feminist in any way. I don't want to say that in a bad way. I'm just saying that there are drivers, men, women, preferably women today, that think they're hot shit, and they can get in these cars And all they do is tear stuff up left and right. They tear other cars up. They tear other drivers' hopes and dreams up. And then it's like, well, I got daddy's money. I have these sponsors. I have OnlyFans money. I can do what I want to do, and I can get back in this car and race whenever I want to and cause chaos and mayhem. And that's all you're going to see tomorrow night when she runs the Wawa car. I've said my piece. I'm done.
I will say, I hope Tony Bredinger gets a solid ride because she's actually impressed me this year in the Xfinity
Tony
Series.
Bredinger, Katie Henninger, Isabella Robusto, when she gets out of her concussion protocol, these are female drivers that I really believe they're gonna turn heads whenever they get in the sport.
Amber
for sure.
Balsian as well, the
Amber
Canadian
Balkan.
female driver. She's
Yes.
up there. She is a
Give her
heck of
a little
talent.
bit, give her another year of ARCA, in
I
my
agree.
opinion. Give her another year
I
of ARCA. Don't rush to get these. And that's just happened. You know the reason why Danica Patrick was not that damn good of a race car driver? Okay? They rushed her through the system. It was all a fluke. If they would have took time to grow Danica Patrick from IndyCar to trucks, or let's say the Busch Series back in the 2000s, and then propel to the Cup Series, then Brady and Tyler, I think she would have been a very good talent behind the wheel. But then to then leave and get in an Indy car and say, well, driving a stock car is fun and easy, and it's all easy and fun, and driving an Indy car is hard. I felt like, in my opinion, all the respect that I did have for her, I lost for her because she took something that she was working in the sport for over 7, 8, 9 years as a full-time career, and then she bashes NASCAR and says in her final race at Indy that driving these cars are easy. They're not easy. I want to see her get in one of these new next-gen cars, and let's see what she can do behind the wheel. So I've said my piece.
Yeah, I think the next gen car has been a good thing for the Cup Series. I'm going to go on this in the future. It's Brady, but I think we should talk about the next gen car and compare to the Gen 6. I think it is a better car than the Gen 6 car. I don't think that's questionable. What I do think is questionable is where they went in the direction of the car. I'm excited to see both races here at Daytona. The regular season ending for the Cup Series. It'll be fantastic. And Brady, I cannot wait to see what happens with you all on Monday night at Mosport. You've talked a lot of smack. Hunter Parsons has talked a lot of smack. If neither one of you two win it, i.e. Blake Lothian doesn't show up, because I would see Blake will probably win if he shows up. But if Blake doesn't show up and neither of you two win it, you both have a lot to answer for, in my opinion. So you better back it up, Brady.
Guys, thank you. Brady, take us home. I'm going to go get breakfast for dinner. Breakfast for dinner for Wesley. Good night from North Carolina.
Sounds good. And like I said, it's going to wrap us up for tonight. We'll see when we wake up tomorrow morning if this results are the same, or if somebody can knock off Jared Borkley and Jeff Sickles. So we'll have to wait and see that for tomorrow. I'd just like to see a little bit more passing with this next gen car. I feel like if you get to the lead, you're pretty much dominated. It'd be nice to see a little bit more passing ability, a little bit more of that side-by-side racing that we're accustomed to seeing. That's my opinion about that. But hey, it was a great show.
Get rid of the spoiler.
I enjoyed it. I think we need to do this. I think we're on to something. So we might see a King of Talladega next. So who knows? But let's get through this event first, and we'll have to see how everything plays off. Tyler, you enjoy your time in Daytona, brother. I want to see some pictures and some videos.
You'll get all of them, Brady. Don't worry about that. And I hope you all have a good night. Thank you all for allowing me to tune in from the actual Daytona International Superspeedway. Thank you, Cody, for being our producer. Cody, I know it's only 7:45 there, so I hope you have a good night. And thank you again, Brady and Wesley, as always. Hopefully, we'll see you guys next time here at the Hot Lap, and also for the King of Daytona. Make sure you tune in next week for duel number 1. I believe Wesley and Brady will be on the call, so tune in for that race. It should be fantastic.
Yep, and we'll talk some more, Tyler. Maybe we can get on here together, and we'll figure out our podcast, guys. We're going to keep Hot Laps going. Tyler and I just have to figure out our schedule moving forward, but no worries. We're just going to get through this event, and we'll probably go back to our normal Thursday night schedule. So that does it for us tonight. We want to thank Cody Knott, like Tyler said. I want to thank Tyler and Wesley. So good night, everybody, and tune in next week for dual race number 1.